I need to tell you something that might change everything you thought you knew about how the universe works. Right now, in this very moment, as you're reading these words, the universe is responding to something you asked for. Maybe you whispered it in a moment of desperation. Maybe you thought about it so intensely that it became a prayer without words. Or maybe you simply felt it deep in your soul without ever speaking it out loud. But here's what most people don't understand. The universe has already heard you, and the response isn't coming sometime in the distant future. It's happening right now, in ways you might not even recognize yet. Stay with me until the very end of this story, because what I'm about to share with you isn't just a tale. It's a mirror that will reflect back to you exactly what you need to see at this moment in your life. And I need your help with something important. Let's create something powerful together. If we can reach 100 heartfelt comments on this video, we'll prove to the universe that we're ready for even more miracles. So as you watch, I want you to commit to staying until the final word, and then leaving a comment that comes straight from your soul. The universe rewards those who engage, who participate, who show up fully. And trust me, those who watch until the end and leave their mark are always remembered first, both by this platform and by the universe itself. Now let me tell you about something that happened. Something so profound that it will make you question everything you thought you knew about coincidence, timing, and divine intervention. This is a story about recognition, about finally understanding that the signs you've been seeing aren't random at all. There was a person, let's understand this person as a reflection of so many of us, who had been struggling for what felt like an eternity. The weight of financial pressure had become so heavy that it felt like carrying stones in every pocket, each one representing an unpaid bill, a dream deferred, a goal that seemed to move further away with each passing day. This person would wake up at 3 in the morning, staring at the ceiling, doing mental calculations that never seemed to add up to hope. The anxiety had become a constant companion, that tight feeling in the chest that makes every breath feel like work. And in those dark hours, this person did what so many of us do. They asked the universe for help, not in a formal prayer, not in some ritualistic way, but in that raw, desperate, honest way that comes from the depths of genuine need. "Please," they whispered into the darkness, "just show me a way forward. Just give me a sign that things can get better." What this person didn't know, what none of us fully understand until we're ready to see it, is that the universe had already begun orchestrating the response the moment that request left their lips. But here's where it gets interesting, and this is where you need to pay very close attention. The universe doesn't respond in the ways we expect. It doesn't drop a bag of money on your doorstep or send an angel with a written message. The universe speaks in whispers, in synchronicities, in moments that seem insignificant until you look back and realize they were everything. The very next day, this person was going through their routine, that zombie-like state we all enter when life feels overwhelming and we're just trying to survive until bedtime. They were standing in line at a coffee shop, not even really wanting coffee, but needing any excuse to leave the house and feel human for a few minutes. And there on the community board that they'd walked past 100 times without really seeing was a small flyer. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't calling out to them with bright colors or bold promises. It was simple, almost easy to miss, but something made them pause. Something made them actually read it. The flyer was about a free workshop on financial literacy and entrepreneurship, happening that very evening at the local library. Now here's what's crucial to understand. This flyer had been on that board for 2 weeks. This person had walked past it at least 10 times, but they hadn't been ready to see it until that moment. The universe had placed the answer in their path, but it waited until their heart was open enough, until their desperation had cracked them open wide enough to actually receive what was being offered. This is how the universe works. It doesn't force, it doesn't push. It places the opportunities, the signs, the helpers in your path, and then it waits for you to be ready to notice them. And the readiness, that comes from the asking. That comes from that moment when you finally surrender enough to say, "I can't do this alone anymore, I need help." The person stood there staring at that flyer and felt something shift inside their chest. It wasn't a dramatic moment, not like in movies where everything suddenly makes sense with a swell of orchestral music. It was quieter than that, more subtle. It was just a small feeling of maybe, and that maybe was enough to make them take a photo of the flyer with their phone. But here's where the story gets even more interesting, because the universe wasn't done responding yet. That evening, as this person was deciding whether to actually go to the workshop or to stay home in the familiar misery of their worry, they received a text message from an old friend they hadn't heard from in over a year. The message was simple. "Hey, I was thinking about you today. Hope you're doing well, just wanted to reach out." Coincidence? Most people would think so. But when you start understanding how the universe communicates, you begin to see that there's no such thing as coincidence. This message, arriving at this exact moment, was another response. It was the universe saying, "You are not forgotten. You are not alone. You matter to people, even when you feel invisible." That message gave them just enough emotional fuel to get dressed and go to the workshop. And here's where your life might parallel this story, where you might start to see your own experiences reflected back at you. Because what happened next wasn't some magical instant transformation. The workshop itself was good, informative, but it wasn't like some secret formula was revealed that suddenly made all the problems disappear. What happened was more subtle and ultimately more powerful. At the workshop, this person sat next to someone who was also struggling, also searching, also asking the universe for help in their own way. They started talking during a break, just casual conversation about the material being presented, but that conversation led to an exchange of contact information. That exchange led to a coffee meeting the following week. That coffee meeting led to the discovery that this new acquaintance knew someone who was hiring for a position that, while not the dream job, paid better and offered more flexibility. It wasn't a miracle in the Hollywood sense. It was a thread, and when you pulled on that thread, it began to unravel a whole new tapestry of possibilities. 3 months later, this person wasn't suddenly wealthy, but they were breathing easier. The tightness in their chest had loosened. They could sleep through the night. The bills weren't paid off, but there was a plan now, a path forward that felt manageable. And when they looked back at that morning in the coffee shop, at that flyer they'd walked past so many times before, they finally understood. The universe had been responding to their request all along. It just required them to take the first step, to notice the sign, to show up, to engage. And this is what I need you to understand right now, as you're taking in these words. The universe has heard your request too. Whatever you've been asking for, whether it's financial relief, love, healing, clarity, purpose, peace, the response is already in motion. But you have to be willing to see it. You have to be willing to recognize that the answer might not look like what you imagined. It might be quieter, more subtle, more ordinary than you expected. But it will be exactly what you need, exactly when you're ready to receive it. Let me go deeper into this because there's more to this story, more layers that need to be understood. The universe doesn't just respond to your requests for external things like money or relationships or career success. It also responds to your deeper requests, the ones you might not even realize you're making. The requests for inner peace, for self-acceptance, for release from the patterns that have been keeping you stuck. This same person, as they began to stabilize financially, started to notice something else happening. They began having dreams that felt significant. Dreams where they were standing at crossroads or finding keys, or opening doors they'd been afraid to open. These weren't just random neural firings during sleep. These were messages from the deeper part of themselves, the part that's always connected to the universe, always in communication with the greater intelligence that moves through all things. In one particular dream, they saw themselves standing in front of a mirror, but the reflection wasn't quite right. It was them, but it was also the version of them they could become, the person they were afraid to be, because being that person would require change, would require letting go of old stories about who they were and what they deserved. When they woke up from that dream, they felt shaken, but they also felt something else, a strange excitement, a readiness to start examining the beliefs that had been running their life from the shadows. This is the deeper work that the universe invites us into. It's not just about manifesting the external things we want, though those are important for our sense of security and well-being. It's about becoming the person who can receive those things, who can sustain them, who can use them wisely and generously. And this transformation, this internal shift, often requires us to face the parts of ourselves we've been avoiding. The person in this story started working with a therapist. Another recommendation that came through that chain of connections that began with the workshop. The therapist helped them see how their relationship with money was actually a reflection of their relationship with themselves, how the financial anxiety was rooted in a deep belief that they weren't worthy of abundance, that they didn't deserve ease or comfort or joy. These beliefs had been installed in childhood, messages absorbed from parents who were themselves struggling, from a culture that equates worthiness with productivity and measures human value in dollars and achievements. Unpacking these beliefs wasn't comfortable. It brought up grief, anger, shame. There were sessions where this person sat in the therapist's office and cried for the child they'd been. The child who learned to associate their value with how little space they took up, how few needs they expressed, how much they could endure without complaining. But here's the beautiful thing about doing this inner work. Every belief you examine loses some of its power over you. Every pattern you bring into the light starts to dissolve. Every wound you acknowledge begins to heal. And as this person healed internally, their external reality continued to shift in ways that felt almost magical, but were actually the natural result of changing their internal frequency. They started attracting different opportunities, different people, different circumstances. Not because the universe suddenly decided to favor them, but because they were no longer blocking the flow of good that had always been trying to reach them. The romantic relationship that had been stagnant and unfulfilling for years either transformed or ended. I won't tell you which because that's not the point. The point is that, as they learned to value themselves, they could no longer tolerate being undervalued by another person. They either taught that person how to show up differently, or they released them with love and made space for someone who could meet them at their new level of self-worth. Either outcome was a gift from the universe, a response to the unspoken request, "Help me know my worth. Help me experience love that honors who I truly am." They also started making different choices with money, not from a place of fear and scarcity, but from a place of wisdom and respect for the energy exchange that money represents. They learned to budget not as a restriction, but as a form of self-care, a way of ensuring that their resources aligned with their values and priorities. They learned to save even small amounts, because saving was a way of telling the universe, "I trust that there's more coming. I trust in the future. I trust in my ability to create stability." And they learned to give, even when it felt scary, because giving is one of the most powerful ways to affirm abundance and to participate in the flow of energy that moves through all of life. They learned that the universe responds not just to our requests, but to our actions, to the energy we put out into the world. When you act from generosity, even in small ways, you send a signal that you trust the abundance of the universe, and that trust is always met with confirmation. Now, I'm telling you this story in such detail because I want you to see yourself in it. I want you to recognize that wherever you are right now, whatever you're struggling with, whatever you've been asking the universe for help with, the response is already happening. But you might need to adjust your vision, refine your perception, open yourself to seeing the signs that are right in front of you. Maybe your sign is this video, these words you're reading right now. Maybe the universe guided you here, to this exact moment, because you needed to hear that you're not alone, that your requests have been heard, that help is on the way in forms you might not expect. The universe works through people, through circumstances, through synchronicities that seem random until you understand the deeper pattern that's always weaving itself beneath the surface of everyday life. And here's something else you need to understand. The universe also responds to your gratitude, to your recognition of the blessings that are already present in your life. It's so easy when we're in struggle to focus only on what's missing, what's wrong, what's not working. But this focus actually blocks us from receiving more good, because we're vibrating at the frequency of lack. When you can shift even slightly into appreciation for what is working, for the ways you're already supported, for the gifts that are already present, you open the channel for more blessings to flow in. The person in this story started a simple practice. Every morning before getting out of bed, they would name 3 things they were grateful for. Not big things, not life-changing things, just simple things. The warmth of the blanket, the sound of birds outside the window, the fact that they had another day to try, to grow, to discover. This practice seemed too simple to matter, but over time it rewired something in their brain, in their heart, in their energy field. It trained them to look for the good, to notice the gifts, to recognize the ways the universe was already supporting them. And as they practiced gratitude, more things appeared in their life to be grateful for. Not because gratitude is some kind of magic spell that manipulates reality, but because gratitude shifts your perception, and your perception creates your reality. You begin to see opportunities you would have missed. You begin to hear offers you would have dismissed. You begin to feel guided in ways you would have ignored. This is the deeper teaching hidden in this story. The universe is always responding to you, always communicating with you, always offering you exactly what you need. But you have to be awake to it. You have to be present to it. You have to be willing to see with new eyes and hear with new ears and feel with a heart that's open rather than defended. If you're struggling financially right now, understand that the universe's response might come through a new skill you're prompted to learn, a conversation that leads to an opportunity, a book that teaches you something that shifts your mindset about money and value. The response might be an inner healing that allows you to finally receive the abundance that's been trying to reach you, but that you've been unconsciously blocking with old beliefs about scarcity and unworthiness. If you're struggling in love, understand that the universe's response might be showing you where you're abandoning yourself, where you're settling for less than you deserve, where you're giving your power away to someone who can't hold it responsibly. The response might be a period of solitude that feels lonely, but is actually teaching you how to be whole on your own, so that when love comes, it's an addition to your wholeness rather than a band-aid for your wounds. If you're struggling spiritually, feeling disconnected from meaning and purpose, understand that the universe's response might be this exact feeling of disconnection, because sometimes we have to feel fully lost before we're willing to find a new way. Sometimes the dark night of the soul isn't a punishment, but a preparation, a clearing away of old structures and beliefs that were too small to hold who you're becoming. The universe is always conspiring for your highest good, even when, especially when, things feel hard and confusing and painful. The struggles you're facing right now are not evidence that the universe has abandoned you or that your prayers haven't been heard. They're part of the response, part of the process of becoming who you need to be to receive what you've asked for. And here's something that might comfort you. The universe has infinite patience. It's not annoyed by your repeated requests. It's not frustrated that you're struggling to learn the lessons. It's not keeping score of your mistakes or judging you for your doubts and fears. The universe is like the most loving parent imaginable, always ready to guide you, always ready to support you, always ready to show you the way forward, even if you've ignored the signs 100 times before. Every moment is a new opportunity to align with the universe's response to your request. Every breath is a chance to open yourself to guidance. Every challenge is an invitation to grow into a larger version of yourself. Every synchronicity is a love letter from the cosmos, reminding you that you're held, you're seen, you're guided, you're loved beyond your capacity to comprehend. So what do you do with this information? How do you work with the universe's response to your requests? First, you pay attention. You start noticing the small signs, the little synchronicities, the unexpected opportunities, the dreams that feel significant, the people who show up at just the right time. You keep a journal where you write down these moments, because when you document them, you start to see the patterns, the ways the universe has been guiding you all along. Second, you take action on the guidance you receive. When you feel prompted to go somewhere, go. When you feel called to reach out to someone, reach out. When you feel guided to learn something new, start learning. The universe meets you in the action, in the movement, in the willingness to participate in your own unfolding. You can't just ask and then sit passively waiting for everything to be done for you. You have to meet the universe halfway, and when you do, you'll be amazed at how the path opens up before you. Third, you trust the timing. This is perhaps the hardest part, because we all want immediate results, instant relief, quick fixes. But the universe operates on divine timing, which is not the same as our human impatience. Sometimes there's a period of gestation required, a time of preparation where things are happening beneath the surface that we can't see yet. Trust that if your request hasn't manifested in the way you expected, it's because something even better is being orchestrated, or because you're not quite ready yet for what you've asked for, or because the timing isn't aligned with the greater good. Fourth, you stay in gratitude and positive expectation. You thank the universe in advance for what's coming. You live as if your request has already been granted, not in a delusional way, but in the sense that you trust so deeply in the universe's response that you can relax into peace and joy now, rather than waiting until circumstances change. This state of grateful expectation is actually a magnetic force that draws your desires to you more quickly. And fifth, you remain open to receiving in unexpected ways. The universe is infinitely creative, far more creative than our limited human minds. The solution to your problem might come from a direction you never imagined. The answer to your prayer might look nothing like what you pictured. The help you need might arrive through a person or circumstance that initially seems insignificant. Stay open, stay curious, stay willing to be surprised by how the universe chooses to bless you. Before I close this story, I want to speak directly to you about something important. You're here right now reading these words for a reason. The universe guided you to this message at this exact moment because there's something here you needed to hear, something that will unlock the next level of your journey. Maybe it's the reminder that you're not alone in your struggles. Maybe it's the permission to trust the signs you've been seeing. Maybe it's the encouragement to take action on that guidance you've been receiving but been too afraid to follow. Whatever it is, I want you to know that I see you. The universe sees you. Your request has been heard, and the response is unfolding right now, in this moment and in the moments to come. Stay awake, stay aware, stay open, and most of all, stay engaged with your life, because engagement is what allows the magic to happen. Now here's what I need from you, and this is important. I need you to help me prove to the universe that this message is reaching the people who need it most. Subscribe to this channel right now if you haven't already, because when you subscribe, you ensure that you won't miss any of the content that's coming your way. Content that the universe wants you to see. Messages that are meant specifically for you at exactly the right time. The platform remembers those who engage, those who watch until the end, those who participate fully, and it shows them content first, which means you'll be first in line for the next piece of guidance the universe wants to deliver to you through these videos. And here's our collective goal, our shared mission. Let's reach 100 comments on this video. 100 heartfelt, genuine comments from people who watched until the end and felt moved to share something. It could be a reflection on the story. It could be your own experience with the universe responding to your requests. It could be a word of encouragement for others who are struggling. Whatever comes from your heart, share it. Because when we create this collective energy of engagement and sharing, we amplify the power of this message. We create a field of possibility that extends beyond just you and me to touch everyone who encounters this video. For the universe to continue helping you, it asks for just one simple thing. Leave a motivational comment on this video. Share your light with others who are searching, just as this message has shared light with you. Your comment matters more than you know, not just to me, but to the countless others who will read it and find hope, find recognition, find the courage to keep going. Those who watch until the end and leave their mark are always remembered first, both by the algorithm and by the universe itself. That's just how the energy works. That's how engagement creates more engagement, how blessings create more blessings, how one person's courage to show up inspires another person to do the same. So I'm asking you right now, before you move on to the next thing, take a moment to leave a comment. Tell me what resonated with you in this story. Tell me what request you've made to the universe that you're waiting to see manifest. Tell me how this message found you at exactly the right time. And if you want, tell me from which corner of the world you are watching this video. Your comment matters, and I want to read it and respond to you. For more exciting stories like this, click on the video that appears on your screen right now.